Can you use non-Speed Duel cards for Speed Duel? This is a question I get asked a lot. It's popped up by newer players trying to get into the format, both in comments of the videos, on Discord, and on Twitch streams, and I wanted to address this because the answer seems very simple, but I think that as we dive more into the format and the format becomes more popular, the answer becomes a little bit less black and white. The question is if you can use your OG Yu-Gi-Oh cards, your old Yu-Gi-Oh TCG cards that you probably had for 10 years, can you use that in the Speed Duel format? Speed Duel consists of a lot of old cards, and there are definitely copies that people have lying around in their basement in old tins that they'd love to dust off and use for Speed Duel. We also see that this is a bit of a barrier to entry to Yu-Gi-Oh! Speed Duel because people are unwilling to rebuy cards they may already have. I'm here to give you a couple answers and go into some discussion on the right way to go about your old collection if you were looking to play Speed Duel. So on paper, black and white, the answer is no. The official rules do state that all Speed Duel cards have to have the Speed Duel watermark on them, and after the original starter sets, they all have Speed Duel in bold black letters between the image and the card text. That is the answer that you'll find in any official FAQ. If you're looking to play Speed Duel, you have to buy the cards again. If you already had them, you have to buy the Speed Duel version, which Speed Duel isn't that expensive, so it's not too bad, but I can understand that a lot of people have distaste for that. I certainly do not blame you. However, I've been playing Speed Duel for about a year and a half now, and through all of the experience I've had playing on the kitchen table, playing locals, and even playing in YCS, I have come to a conclusion that there is a little more flexibility to this rule than people might want you to believe. I think that one of the biggest pushes for Speed Duel is to get new people into it, and I certainly don't want to see a barrier to entry with the card situation. So, based on the matches that I've played in all sorts of different settings and environments, there's a general rule I like to follow, and it's similar to a rule that we see in the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG, and that's the translation rule. So the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG translation rule is that you can use foreign language copies of legal for play cards printed in the TCG market, as long as you can show an official translation of the card. Usually that's kept outside of your deck box, and when asked to show the translation by an opponent or a judge, you can show that to them, and you can resume the play. I like to keep that rule for Speed Duel. Now, if you're entering a YCS, I wouldn't tempt this. I would definitely try and get the Speed Duel copy. If you're entering a Speed Duel event at a YCS, then you probably already have those cards already. But generally what I've seen when entering locals is that most people are okay with you being able to use regular TCG copies of the card as long as you have the Speed Duel copy on hand to show when asked to do so, similar to the foreign language policy that the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG has. That's the rule of thumb that I've been using, and it's been working. I played a few locals where I have swapped cards out for some original versions. You know, there's a lot of commons in Speed Duel where there might be some super rare, ultra rare counterparts in the older sets of the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG, and I like to bling out my deck, of course. So I'm going to put those in, and what I've done is that in my deck box or outside of my deck box, but with me, I have the actual Speed Duel copies in case it becomes a problem. To date, it has not been a problem, and a specific example I have is that I entered the New York Comic-Con YCS, which was remote. That was back in, I believe it was October of 2020, and the decks that I had ran Nightmare Wheel and Zoma the Spirit. Both are commons in the Speed Duel format, but I really liked the super rare Zomas and the ultra rare Nightmare Wheels, and got myself some OG copies of those to put and sleeve into my deck. I was able to play the entirety of the YCS tournament without any negative strike over the fact that my cards are not Speed Duel. There was one opponent that called me out and said, hey, you know, I noticed that Zoma was pretty shiny. I said, you know, I did want to bling out the deck. I do have the Speed Duel copy right here if you want to see it. Judge was in the room as well, and there was no problem. So in an effort to lower the barrier to entry to Speed Duel, and I know that there are people that have these cards laying around. I mean, we're talking about the first couple seasons of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. You know, those cards, people have had those and been hanging on to them for a long time. I would say that most kitchen table play is going to let you use whatever you want. Obviously, you're playing with your buddies. It's really based on the person that you talk to or you play against. It's definitely a good idea to have a Speed Duel copy of the card if you're going to a local, just in case you run into a problem. And of course, if you're entering any sort of regional qualifier or YCS where Speed Duel is a side event you want to participate in, it's a very good idea to either have the actual card running in your deck or certainly have it off to the side if you need to switch it out if somebody has a problem with it. But kitchen play, I think you can use whatever you want depending on who you're asking. You know, certainly the theme of Speed Duel is you don't want to play anything that's outside of the pool of cards that's in the format right now, which has grown substantially since the Battle City box. But I just wanted to dispel some of these rumors that it's got to be, you know, super black and white. People are really on you about having the Speed Duel copy, because in my experience, you have not necessarily had to have it in the deck if you want to bling out the deck. But I love it when people can break out their old cards and can see those really old copies of Amazoness Swordswoman and Lava Golem and Nightmare Wheel and things of that nature, as long as you have a good understanding of what cards are in the Speed Duel format, and, you know, it depends on who you play against. You guys have any specific cards that you love to play that are in the Speed Duel format that you have a blinged out version for? I personally have the Nightmare Wheel Zomas, I have Grapekeeper's Oracle, I have Lava Golem, I have Hyper Hammerhead. I like to see those. They got the super rare variant, also Amazoness Swordswoman. But if you guys have any specific cards that hold a special place in your heart, you have some good OG copies of, let me know in the comments below what some popular ones are, and happy dueling.